French. It's better for me. I am an independent consultant. I'm also one of the Sapphire UTC leaders. So I'm French, but I moved to US 2 years ago. So here is my Twitter and my blog. And I am also the godfather of Routers. So here is the agenda. So I will try to explain a little bit what is the proof of concept, what you can expect, or the customer can expect about the proof of concept, what is the mobile services, the reference architecture, scope of work, all the prerequisites, the installation, configuration, the test, and the case success for proof of concept. So what is the proof of concept? So here is a small definition. So the idea is to demonstrate to customers what the solution can provide them. So, and you will also verify some concept. So the objective, so here it's based on Citrix, but it's a general concept. So it's to introduce some technology for customer and to validate this technology in the customer environment. So the benefits, when you make a POC, the idea of a POC is to be the most simple as possible and to have a low level of exposure. I mean, during a POC can be successful or not. I mean, it's not because it's a POC that it cannot be successful. It can be, it cannot be. It will depend on many things. You will need to take care. And you need to keep in mind that a POC needs to be short in time, because usually when you do a POC for a customer, it's free. So the less time you will spend, the less money it will cost you or your company. And so you will need to define a scope of work, even if it's for a POC. I mean, you don't want to just come to a customer and say to the customer, okay, I will show you what you can do with this or this type of project, without a scope. Otherwise, you will spend so much time. You can spend much more time than expected. And you can also provide some deliverables. So you need to know that the much deliverables you will provide to the customer, the much time it will take you to write those deliverables. But it can help for the future. So how XenMobile Services is working. So you got your own data center, everything is in the cloud. I mean, you got the NetScaler load balancer, the XenMobile server, and the database, because all the XenMobile stuff is inside the database. So the first thing you will need to do is to install cloud connector. So at least one, for a POC, one is quite enough. For a production, you will need two. You will see after a while. So it's really simple, in fact. I mean, you just need to install two things, or at least one, the cloud connector. You should be able to install as well a storage zone connector for ShareFile if you want to use ShareFile, which is a part of the XenMobile Enterprise version. So the architecture is really simple. So you will have your own NetScaler, the cloud connector, and an admin workstation with some ports to open to be able to manage everything. And only 4443 need to be open on the firewall to the NetScaler, inbound and outbound. And the cloud connector, the communication with the Citrix cloud is based on 4443. And you will need as well the 4443 and the 8443. So 8443 is used to onboard iOS devices only. For Android, it's 4443. And the 4443, it's the admin port. So here is a simple scope of work. I used to work with this when I made some POC for customers. So as I told you, you need to keep it the most simple as possible. So basically, we define two types of devices to onboard, Android and iOS, because if you want to onboard Windows devices with MDM and MAM, it's much more complicated. You will need more certificates and other stuff. We will configure auto-discovery because it's useful for the customer to just provide their email to be able to onboard the device. For the MDM configuration, configuration is pretty simple, 6 digits with 1 minute of inactivity timer. We made a software inventory with schedule policy, and we can provide terms and conditions, so the user needs to accept them before running the device. Because the fact is, when you onboard a device with MDM, you take control over the device. So just to make the user aware about the fact that you can manage their device and see things on the device. For the MDX restriction, so MDX restriction apply to all secure apps or the wrapped application that you will provide to the user. So we'll enable secure pin because you have two options when you got timeout on the application. Providing a secure pin will cache the default password, Active Directory password inside the device, and it's more simple to use. So it's a 6 digit, at least in 4 digits. The fact is, it can be the same for 6 digits that the device passcode. There is no communication between the device passcode and the secure pin. We enable encryption, which is not on Android devices by default, and we will restrict exchange between secure apps and non-secure apps, and we will provide access to, by default, all Citrix secure apps because it's easier. You can retrieve the index from Citrix website. You don't have to go and wrap application with the customer stuff. And so just keep it as easy as possible. So the prerequisite, so as I told you, you need a NetScaler, Active Directory of course, 1 or 2 share file storage controller if you want to use share file, 1 or 2 cloud connector, an admin workstation, a file server for the share file, even if it's not mandatory. I mean, for proof of concept, you can have the shared space for share file on the storage zone controller, an Exchange server, and eventually an intranet website for secure web. So the first thing you need to do, if you want to keep it simple as possible, it's to prepare. So to prepare a proof of concept, so here is an example for XenMobile, but it's the same case for every proof of concept. So you can manage this with Excel spreadsheet, for example. So here is an example of the Excel spreadsheet I'm using for this. So it's typically for XenMobile, this one, with all the information that you will need. So here, so it's some settings. So you will need to fulfill everything with the customer before you will go on site. So there is this part for all the IP information, as well as the org ID or other stuff. You got all the firewall rules, and it's I mean, when you fulfill this part, this one is automatically fulfilled with the source IP you put on the other tab. There is a multiple tab in the Excel spreadsheet. And here it's all the things you need to create on the Active Directory. So it's, I mean, it's the name I use, but you can use other names. So you need service account, Active Directory user group for the test purpose, and pilot users, test account. So for the installation, so here it's a small example on my lab. So as you can see, it took me 4 hours to install everything. So the only thing for the admin workstation, it took me 1 hour because I started from scratch. So it was done on VMware. For all the server here, I used the Windows 2016 base image. But even doing that, I mean, as you can see, it's quick. So even if you want to do that on your own lab, it will not take you a long time to do. So, sorry. I think I go too quickly. So, the first thing you will do, you will need to install the cloud connector. So, you will need to connect on Citrix Cloud. So, you have an account or you don't have an account. If you don't have an account, you can create one, or you can use your MyCitrix ID. Here, the fact is here, so I already have a XenMobile service. So you can ask for a trial. So if you do that, you will be in contact with Citrix and you will wait the Citrix guys to agree with the trial. After, you will need to go in a resource location I mean, here it's just for cloud collection, it's not for, sorry.
Yeah, and just how long is the waiting time for the trial to be activated? So what's a long time?
It's depending on Citrix. I mean, the fact is, it's the rapid deployment team at Citrix that agree. So I got the email, I can provide you with the email if you want. So if you don't have any answer for them, after 24 hours you can just send an email.
I've got it within hours.
Yeah, they're quite quick. It's with the team who's
the fact is, I mean, I'm also working as a contractor for Citrix Consulting, so I know a lot of people. So when I asked for it, I got it really quickly. So here it's the installation of the Cloud Connector. So the Cloud Connector, as I told you, it's not only for XenMobile. I mean, you can use it for XenApp and XenMobile Services as well. So you just need to download the MSI, install it, and after you will see in the Cloud Portal, we will refresh and we will see that the resource location is available. At the beginning, I told you, you can use one or two Cloud Connectors. If you only use one Cloud Connector, you will see after refreshing here that it will be in orange. There is like an alert. Because the fact is that if you only have one and the server is unavailable, you will receive a lot of email alerts. This is why it's not mandatory, but it's preferable to have at least two. So after the Cloud Connector is configured, you just need to click on Manage under XenMobile Services, and we will start with the beginning of the configuration. It's not different as on-premise. I mean, you will see the same portal, so you will need to configure the NetScaler gateway, the LDAP configuration, and eventually the notification server. The main difference here, you will see after, if you used to work with XenMobile on-premise, it's that you don't have to make any specific configuration for LDAP. All the stuff is retrieved with the Cloud Connector. You don't need to provide the Active Directory to make your IP or name. So I think I switch it. Sorry, here. So we need to see it again if you want to go to the end. So basically, those steps took me about 10 minutes. The video is less than that because when you install the Cloud Connector, it takes some time because there is some communication verification and you need to extract the MSI, install it, and some prerequisites as well. I'm sorry, I think the video is stuck, so I will go to the next slide. The fact is that I just make the first simple step. So configuration of the NetScaler gateway, the LDAP configuration, notification server, and that's it.
What I would say is when you're installing the Cloud Connector, if you've got more than one Citrix Cloud account, if you've logged in with one of your Citrix Cloud accounts, the Cloud Connector thinks it's being smart by registering you automatically with your Citrix Cloud account into a prompt. So if it does that, it's really easy to just disconnect it and then log in with the right account.
So here after, the second step is to configure the the properties. So here as well, so I reconnect, but you should be already connected. You click on Manage, and after that, you go on Client Properties. So here, in fact, it's just 5 minutes as well. So just change the password authentication to enable the passcode. We use the password caching as well as the secure pin. And usually I use also the Touch ID. I enable Touch ID, which is by default disabled. So if you got iPhone X, Touch ID manage the Face ID. So there is no specific settings for the Face ID on iPhone X. And it's just changing the value from false to true, so it's quick and easy. So after doing that, what we will need to do is to configure the MDX, the device policy, sorry. So the terms and conditions, and all the things I show you at the beginning. So there's 4 fields here. So the password policy. So usually what you just see on the video what I did. Usually I just keep the platform OS I need. Otherwise, if you forget to uncheck it, you will be prompted with the message. So here it's for the device file code. It's just switch the button from off to on. Select the inactivity timer. We define it at 1 minute, so it goes there. And after we'll assign this to all users. So by default, you got the default user group, which is all users. So if you are not aware about the XenMobile, all user, it's the domain user. So for security purposes, usually, not for production, I disable this delivery group and I create a specific delivery group with the same name as the Active Directory group. Just to not provide every user in the company to be able to onboard his device. Otherwise, I mean, it's just depending on how many licenses you can have, but you will not exactly manage how many devices will onboard. And the fact is, even if one XenMobile node, you can have up to 2,500 users. It's most of the time it's much more than needed. Because I was involved last year around 10 different projects in US for Citrix consulting, and the largest one was 15,000 users. But most of them it's between 500 and 5,000 users. But it was most of them on-premise. So I did some cloud as well, but the cloud was in UK, not in US. So after the device policy, so the secure apps. So I did not make any video on the secure apps. You just need to retrieve the apps directly from the Citrix website with your My Citrix account and just import and configure the apps. So there is nothing in particular to do with that. I mean, it's the same as on-premise and it's not complicated as well. For Sapphire, so Sapphire, it's much more stuff to do. So during the base configuration of Sapphire on the NetScaler, you will be asked if you want to make the connection between the NetScaler and the Sapphire storage controller in HTTP or HTTPS. If you want to use HTTPS, you will need to have a certificate installed in IIS on the Sapphire storage controller. So, after that, you will need to install the software so you can retrieve it from the Citrix website. As you can see here, it's 35 seconds to install the software on the storage controller. It's just next. After you got the configuration, and it's not. I mean, even for the configuration, it's quite easy. The first thing you need to be aware here. You got your account to connect to the cloud portal. The fact is that you cannot use this account to configure the Sapphire storage controller and to provision user on Sapphire. It's not working. So the first thing you will need to do is to go here and to create a service account. So, I mean, I create my service account, and after the service account, I made this service account the admin of my Sapphire account. You cannot use it because if you use the same credentials as the one you are using for the Citrix Cloud connection, it will not work. I don't know why, but it's like that. So this is the only way to have it working for provisioning the user and configuring Sapphire. So here, after creating the service account, you just need to go in the admin settings, company information, and switch your current user to the other one. After, it's the configuration on the storage controller. So here it's the folder I created for all the, you will see there is 12 folder as well as a TXT file. The SCT TXT file contains the passphrase you will use to configure. It's an encrypted file. So the first thing you will need to do here is to provide the account URL on Sapphire, the control plane URL, and the service account username and password you created in the step before. So you will create a new zone. Here you can select by default, so you will enable storage zone for ShareFile data, and you can select if you want to enable connector for network shares as well as for SharePoint. So just take care to check the box at the beginning, because if you check this box, you provide the information, and you check the other box after, all the information here are removed. You need to provide those information. So here, as you will see, it's just quick and easy. So the passphrase. And after why I opened the Windows Explorer pointing to my shell folder, because the first step is creating the SC keys. So it just permits me to ensure that everything is working. If you don't see this file appearing, there is some issue with the right or the password of this account. So here are the folders created. So I will not go in details on all of these folders, but quickly. You got the persistent storage where all the files are stored. You got the upload queue. So here you will see the files appearing when you want to upload to ShareFile, and when the files are moved from there to there, they disappear from here. So for ShareFile, for all the configuration, it's less than 30 minutes. So it's really quick. So for the auto discovery configuration, so here is the link where you will need to go. I think recently the URL has changed. I will need to check that, but I think right now it's xms.citrix.girl.com and not anymore this one.
I think you're right.
So
I think that's correct. Yeah. It's a different URL.
Yeah. So here, it's also quick and easy. You need to click on Request Auto Discovery. You will add your domain. So after providing the domain name, you will see DNS token, and you need to create a TXT entry on your DNS. I was asked by a customer if this record need to stay on the DNS, or after the verification he can remove it. I asked the question to Citrix, but I did not have any answer. The fact is, when I checked on my live last week, the last check was done in March this year. However, my configuration for this, because I used also this demo in the past, was done in January. So I think it's just not one, but probably 3 months, or so you will need to keep it. When you create it, you click on done on top. You can click on done before, and when it's verified, you will see completed. So you will edit it to fulfill all the information here, and you will review at the end before saving. So just the thing here, you will see I have 2 different URL. So one for the MDM part and one for the MAM part. If you want to use, so it's just, I make a quick break about that. So when you work with XenMobile, you can have the enterprise version, which is MDM and MAM. You can have the MAM only, so you will need to switch the property on the server, or you can use legacy MAM. Legacy MAM, in fact, when you onboard a device, you are asked if you want to onboard it. If you click on no, it's a legacy MAM environment. You will connect to the Netscaler gateway, and all the certificates will not be installed on the device. If you want to do this without requesting the user to click on no, you can just provide on the XenMobile FQDN the URL of the MAM server. So if you put the Netscaler gateway on both, it will be legacy MAM environment on your XenMobile server. So after, you will need to test everything after the enrollment. So you will need to verify the connection to the admin portal. You will need to onboard devices, access secure apps, and verify that all the settings are working. So it should take around 2 hours to do all this stuff with the customer. So as well for the test, I got an Excel spreadsheet, which is this one. So with the test result, pass failed, and for iOS or Android, every settings defined on the XenMobile. So the case you test, so you need to keep in mind that usually it should not take too long. So I used to say one day after all the Excel spreadsheets are fulfilled with the customer, the first one I showed, and all the firewall rules are in place. In one day you can manage everything. So if you can stay in the 1 day window, I mean you can do it for free. Because if it's done correctly and the customer is happy, you will have the project afterwards to move in production. So as well, you need to keep in mind, not only for XenMobile, for every proof of concept that you will be able to do, it's to have a scope of work and to follow the scope of work. Even if you know the customer, and if the customer asks you, can you do that or that, which is not in the scope, never do it. Because the fact is that it's human, but people always remember things that are not working. If everything is good, the customer will never say, oh, I'm happy. But if it's not working, he will tell you, I'm not happy with your job. And the fact is that even if it's for helping the customer, because you know him or you want to have the project, it can be a shame. So if you got the issue during the POC, always keep track of what was the issue, what was the resolution step. Because it will help you if you got the engagement for the production, because you know what to do to fix the problem, but it can help you as well for other projects in the future. And as well, train yourself, because the fact is, when I say 1 day for the proof of concept, you need to just be sure of what you will do on the customer side and not discover the product. So, as I told at the beginning, you can request Citrix trial account. So just do it if you want to play with it before going on site with your customer. I don't know if you have any questions.
I got a question about licensing. If you have a platinum customer, you know, they have their renewals, their regular renewals, and then they sign up for this cloud service. Are those renewals combined, or do they have now two renewals and they have to try?
No, the fact is, so if you got a customer with platinum licenses, for example, there is two options. The user is currently using XenMobile or not.
They're not.
If they are not using XenMobile, they have the ability to use XenMobile. And I mean, I know that if you've got the XenMobile on-premise, you can migrate in the cloud for free with Citrix Services. If you want to deploy XenMobile in the cloud, as you got your license, you should be able to do it. I don't know if it's for free.
It's not for free. You really have to also, if you are already on-prem, there's an upgrade path to go to the cloud service, but it's not a free service to do.
I think so.
But they don't need to upgrade their license to like Citrix Cloud in order to...
It's a different license model, different license type, so I'm pretty sure there is.
Yeah, you have to pay for that.
You have to pay for that,
It's
it's
not
not
like
free.
a professional platinum license. You can convert that and it costs you money, and then you have the yearly subscription for the XN Cloud and the professional one for the on-premise.
So there is, so if you started to consume these Citrix Cloud licenses, you'd have to convert your licenses to Citrix Cloud. And then in doing so, that really wouldn't change the price of your existing Zen apps and desktop. But what if they don't want to use Citrix Cloud for Zen apps and desktop? They want to do that on premises, or they want to do XenMobile Cloud.
Split at extra cost.
But you can keep them split.
You can give up the right for professional users. What you actually do, you give up the right to use that on premises. You get the subscription-based access years of cloud, but you remain with the .NET desktop, you're testing license and model for the rest of the It's just described.
I mean, if you want to use the mobile in the cloud and you got your XenApp on-premise, you will need to use your own NetScaler. You cannot use the NetScaler services.
Yeah, because most customers already have enterprise platform. And they may not want to run apps and just operate in the cloud, but they prefer XenMobile, which is
Split, convert, and pay for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the fact is that when you use the mobile in the cloud, as well as XenApp in the cloud, XenApp I'm not sure, but for XenMobile I know it, you don't see the license in the web portal. Even if you try to make some REST API request, you're not able because it's a shared license server for all the customers. Yeah, but you can retrieve how many license you use. I mean,
Number of registered devices is actually the number of users.
yeah. I mean, I created some scripts in PowerShell based on REST API, and I can know how many licenses are consumed by the customer in the cloud.
Right.
Based on the fact that it's a user and a device. So I select all the device, extract the user which are on all the device, and make comparison just to increase the number of licenses.
Also, just if I can comment, I work for Citrix as a CCS consultant for network integrity. If you want to work with the XenMobile solution and you request a trial, they also send an invite for a 2-hour session with the team, with the deployment team. This is very useful if you do it for the first time, because it gives you slides and it also shows you how the cloud network works, how it fits in. It really gives some hands-on for first-time deployments. I've also done a couple of those deployments now for customers, and especially the team who's actually maintaining it later on will have a lot of benefit from that part. The other part is, and that's what you say, do talk in one day. I'm not fully agree. I understand why you say it, especially if I'm a CCS consultant.
I disagree
But
with that.
you really have to see the scoping, discuss with the customer what is the scope, what do they want, and then decide.
I mean, when I say one day, it's based on the scope I showed you at the beginning.
Yeah, I agree.
The scope is very limited. If you keep it limited in one day, you can't do it.
The thing is, what I think is we can, just in general, we can provide a lot more added value to the customer if we really ask the customer and take a day or a half day with the customer, what are you looking for in the solution, and build your own environment. I think that's very important.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I mean, I think the choice will be made based on the fact if you can invoice or not.
I agree.
If you need
I can understand.
if the customer wants it for free, you will want to keep it as simple as possible.
This is something that you see for free, but that's not one day.
You do all your POC for free?
No, not a single one.
No,
That's it.
Not
Yeah.
a single one.
Yeah,
At
but
the same time, I'm charging 5 days for POC, so.
yeah, but if you can invoice, I mean, you don't do one day.
Why should we one day of engagement customer for 5 days?
if the customer really wants to have a if they're serious about it, then you'll pay for it.
Yeah.
Maybe the US market is very different for you right now, but I would say the customers pay for 5 days.
Because, I mean,
And you need 3 days on it.
Yeah.
Charge 5, need 3, so it's about.
I went to UK for Citrix consulting for content, so the customer was paying for it. It was okay. But I did support in US as well, and the customer doesn't want to pay for it. Or he will pay $75 an hour, which is not the price that will cost to the company. So you need to manage this, and based on that, you will probably do less, just because it's free or not free. Yeah, but
I understand where you come from, but really it's not a one answer per customer. Really be clear on that one, because if the customer pays for it, they're also more committed. And because otherwise, you say they do it free, how serious are they?
How serious is that issue?
And for self-employed consultant, it's a lot of money to say, oh, we do it for free.
Let's just pick the next one, try that one, pick next one, try that one, so you lose the job. But if they have to pay for it, what's the issue?
yeah, the fact is, I mean, it's depending because I don't know if you are a customer or partner of Citrix, are partners.
No, because
You are customer. So there is something at Citrix which name is Citrix Rewards. So when you make the POC to customer side, if you pick up this POC and sales from Citrix agree based on the customer feedback, you will receive some cash back, even if you don't do the project, it's another partner who do the project. So by saying that, I mean, you can do POC for free, because you're just expecting that you will have the reward if the customer use the solution, the product. Yeah, you need to make some choices and see with the customer. But I agree with you, the first thing is just to understand the customer expectation and to meet the customer expectation.
That's like the scope session.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just the beginning. I mean, you can work with that and you can expand it. I mean, customer can, for example, would like to test, make a proof of concept, but not for the secure apps, Citrix secure apps, because you can compare all the secure apps. You want his own application. The fact is that just unsure, because it can take a long time, not to wrap the application, but to debug in case of issue. I mean, I got customers that use the own app, we wrap the application, it was not working. The fact is, the app was developed with in French we used to say two left hands. It was not developed correctly, so it cannot work even. But it was the Citrix fault. No, because it was not tested without Citrix. So here the last things of here are the link, and as well you can use this credentials on my Sapphire account to retrieve all the video as well as the Excel spreadsheet, and that there is also 2 Word documents for the cloud connector installation, and the other one I do not remember, but you can connect here and retrieve all the documents.
Great. Thank you.